What's going on, my fellow Kino Lords? So today I'm going to be reviewing The Phoenician Scheme, which is the latest film written and directed by Wes Anderson. So it's been a hot minute since I've reviewed anything and uploaded any content on the channel. The last film that I reviewed was Bring Her Back, and that was like 2.5 weeks ago. And there's two reasons for that. One, obviously, as I say in almost every video now, I'm just extremely busy with my job now that it's really difficult to find time. But also, like, in my opinion, there hasn't really been anything released since then that I like was really screaming at me like, you gotta go watch this movie and you gotta put out a review for it. So there's been a little bit of a dry spell as well until now, obviously, with The Phoenician Scheme. If it's a Wes Anderson movie, I'm gonna fucking see it. Like, there's just the dude is insanely talented, has so much style. There's no way that he's not going to come out with a movie and I'm not going to be excited for it. Like, it's just have huge admiration for him. Even my shirt, it's a Life Aquatic shirt. I am deeply in love with that movie. Honestly, probably still like in my top 20 or 25 favorite films ever made. That movie just really hits close to home, and is all around just excellent filmmaking. But with that being said, let me just cut right to the chase in regards to my opinion about this movie. After watching The Phoenician Scheme, I walked out of it having a long internal debate about whether or not I should even review it, because I feel like there was a lot about it that I was concerned about in terms of my thoughts being a bit derivative, I guess is a appropriate word, in the sense that I'm not going to really be saying anything new or insightful about it that perhaps already hasn't been said about it. And the reason why I say that is because of this. Well, you know what? First of all, let me just say this. I enjoyed the movie. All right. I walked out of it enjoying many aspects of it and saying to myself, yeah, at some point I could see myself rewatching this. I like this more than Asteroid City. Asteroid City was a movie that I was pretty high on at first, but I don't know, with time it's kind of gotten down in my head. But I do enjoy this movie a bit more than Asteroid City. I think it's more interesting. I think it's funnier. I like the characters a bit more. Some of the performances stick out a bit more. And look, it's a Wes Anderson movie, and this is part of the reason why I almost didn't even want to review it, because most of my review is just going to tell you like everything you love about a Wes Anderson movie is in this fucking movie. It's charming, it's quirky, has this very calculated, constructed style to it, and if you're a huge Wes Anderson fan and if you loved everything that he's made up until this point, you're gonna walk out of it loving this movie. But for me personally, like, I think my biggest concern walking out of this is like, I feel like I'm getting very emotionally detached from his work. And I think that's for many reasons, but I think for this film in particular, and perhaps for maybe his last few films, but especially for this one, I feel like it moves at such a rapid fire pace in terms of like the dialogue delivery and just the overall like pace of the movie, like from scene to scene. It's a very like kind of like high speed energy to it. And it makes it to where I feel like I can't really reflect and absorb all of the material that it's presenting to me. Because I wouldn't necessarily say that this film needs more drama or needs more conflict, even though it may appear that way. I feel like there is drama, there is conflict, both internal and external, but the film doesn't necessarily give you much time at all to really reflect on it and take any of it in and really feel the moments that it perhaps would want you to feel. And and that's because of like Wes Anderson, again, like tripling, quadrupling down on his unique, quirky style of filmmaking. And again, like, it's very derivative of me to say that, oh, the Cinematography is beautifully symmetrical. The tracking shots are very well designed and constructed. Has this very like cartoony and playful attitude about it. And those are all things that we love about Wes Anderson movies, but it does kind of get a little bit to a point where you're kind of wondering, where is he gonna go from here? Because he's not necessarily showing a lot of like, he's not really showing a lot of risk taking. He's not showing a lot of risk taking elements with his latest movies. I'll just say that. He's very dug in on what he believes is his own style and what people love about his style. But now it feels like Wes Anderson has his own style rooted down and calculated to a science that it's almost becoming a victim of his own style and charm. Because, like, let's take a film like Life Aquatic that I really love. Yes, it has a very charming Wes Anderson style. It's wholesome. It's ironically funny. It's subtle. It's cartoony. But it doesn't feel like every corner of the film is calculated. And I feel like with his last few films, like, that's the case. Like, every corner of the film is calculated. And it feels like, again, every single element, he has it down. He has his own style down to a science, to where there's nothing really like raw or emotional about it that makes me feel more invested. He's not really doing anything bold or getting out of his comfort zone. And even like narratively, because even though like I loved Michael Cera's character, I loved most characters in this movie. I like the themes that it dives into with religion and unbelief, and like all that stuff was really cool. But through his very calculated, repetitive style that we've seen throughout like really his whole career, but especially with these last like 3 or 4 movies, it just, I don't really feel connected as much as I want to with the material. And I just want to see Wes Anderson, as I mentioned, do something that feels like he's getting out of his own stylistic comfort zone. And even though I walked away from the Phoenician Scheme saying like, hey, this is an enjoyable movie, I liked it, I just can't help but feel underwhelmed that I didn't feel emotionally attached to really much anything, and there was a lot of potential there for it. And I don't know, it's just, again, I think him quadrupling down on every element of his style to a very scientific, calculated degree is what, to me, is holding him back from making something that I feel like could be much more impactful, much more timeless, much more impressive. And even though it's good, I'll walk out of it saying, hey, that was a good movie. I can't help but say, walking out of it, yep, that's another Wes Anderson movie. Like, yeah, it gives you what you want in a way, but at the same time, like, if this is your first Wes Anderson movie ever, I can see you being like, whoa, that was fucking insane. Like, I loved every single thing about it. But, like, when you see him do this so many times, it doesn't feel like you're really getting anything new out of the experience. It just feels like another Wes Anderson movie. And yeah, but even narratively, I feel like he's not doing anything bold. I feel like even like the ending to this movie could have had a little bit more risk. Like, and again, this is beyond style. This is just script writing. Like, I feel like the resolutions of these characters and just what happens in the conclusion could have been a little bit more like unsafe. Maybe take a little bit of a more dangerous route. Maybe try to upset your viewer a little bit. Like, it's all just so squeaky clean and safe and calculated that I can't help but feel underwhelmed walking out of it. But again, like I know this is why I almost didn't want to talk about it, because it almost makes you sound like a little bit of an asshole, but I can't help but feel that way when watching it. And again, Michael Cera's performance and character, loved it completely. Awesome. One of the few characters that didn't feel like Wes Anderson had complete control over. Because even like Benicio del Toro and the character that plays his daughter in the movie, really pretty much everybody in this movie had this very like emotionless, monotone dialogue delivery the entire movie. And it's because that's the way Wes Anderson wants it. He wants to impose his style throughout the entire experience, but then it makes it to where I'm not connecting emotionally or even thematically like with the characters because it just feels so stilted. And I get it that it's on purpose, and sometimes it can work, but like Michael Cera was one of the few characters that didn't feel that way. Like it felt like he was kind of doing his own thing, or Wes Anderson at least allowed him to have freedom with how he was, portraying his character, and I loved it. But overall, I just feel like a bit underwhelmed by this experience. And I just want Wes Anderson to venture out and take a little bit of risks here and there and get out of his comfort zone, because even though these are good movies and I'm always going to appreciate the meticulous direction and the cinematography and set design and the imagination, like I'm always going to appreciate that shit, but I'm getting to the point where it's like, what else are you going to bring to the table that feels different from the film that you just made? So, I don't know. I enjoyed the Phoenician Scheme. I think it's a good, charming movie. But I don't know. I guess it's feeling a little bit repetitive, and I'm feeling emotionally detached from material for the reasons I just laid out. So I'm going to give the Phoenician Scheme a soft 7 out of 10 because I just can't help but appreciate the style that he has. And it is a funny and charming movie, and it had me smiling a lot, and there's a lot to appreciate. I just want more. That's all. But that's all I got to say about the film. If you really enjoy what I had to say about the Phoenician Scheme, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. WF did it, more film-related content.